And they kicked me in the John Wiener.
Welcome, Wrestle Buddies. Give me another green.
And they kicked me in the John Wiener. What up to all the homies out there? It's your boys, Perry Wayne and AJG Papa 3, a.k.a.
Disc Golf Destroyer.
a.k.a.
Arthritis in my knee.
a.k.a.
I'm still walking, though. It's okay.
Nice. And we are the Wrestle Buddies coming at you. We got a special episode lined up for you today, extra special episode. It is our first interview, and with us today is the...
Whoa. It's not our first interview. My daughter's been on here a few times. Okay?
That is true. That's true. And no disrespect to McKinley. She has good picks. She has good takes too. So our second or third interview with us today is the owner of 0 Point Aerial and 0 Point Audio, the lead drone pilot for WWE, Mr. Todd Torrance. Todd, welcome aboard. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Cool. I really appreciate you being here. This is a lot of fun. We are all veterans in some aspects. You being one for quite some time, me being one officially at the beginning of next month, and Wayne will join us there eventually. So, I mean, it's really cool to talk to someone outside of the military and the cool things that they've done. That I guess I watched your interview that you did back in May. I can't remember the name of the show, Wayne, if you can tell me, or Todd, if you know what I'm talking about.
That was Someday Soon podcast.
Yeah. So you've been out of the military for what, almost 20 years now, right?
20 years, yeah.
It's just really cool to see someone that's successful outside of what they did in the military, because I know personally, me being a weather forecaster, I don't really want to do anything with that when I'm officially on the job market, if I choose to stop having Saturdays every day. But again, I appreciate it. So if you don't mind, we could just dive right into some of the things. Wayne and I are wrestling fans. We know about the tropes and the stereotypes of what a wrestling fan can be. There's been there is an advent of wrestling fan called the IWC that has existed since social media became prevalent. Were you a wrestling fan at all in your youth? How did you come about? And are you a wrestling fan now? Hopefully you are, since you work.
I mean, I was like a casual fan as a kid. I think, like hanging out with some of the elementary school friends and stuff, it was on. There's some action figures floating around. I didn't own a belt or try to power bomb my brother through a table or anything like that. And I think as an adult, I always respected the athleticism involved. I just didn't really get it. Kind of fell into the category of like, these are obviously phenomenal athletes. Like, there's no questioning that. I just don't really understand why adults are so invested in this. And then fast forward how many ever years it's been working with WWE, and it's like the match itself is one layer of what's happening. The athletic performance, the stunt work, the acting, the improv, the choreography, the live television, music, lighting, camera work, crowd psychology, all kind of coming together to actually tell a story. And it's live, so you get one take. If you miss a cue, that's it. There's no stopping because the camera wasn't in the right spot. Performers communicating with each other, reacting to the audience, interacting with production, and then physically performing at an incredibly high level all at the same time. So now I would say I'm firmly in the storytelling or acrobatic theater column now. And I think the interesting thing is that seeing behind the curtain hasn't diminished it at all for me. If anything, it's actually done the opposite. And the more I've learned about what goes into making it work, the more I've come to appreciate it.
You're speaking to the choir here. Like we've loved it for a very long time. I myself, I think, like the first memory I have of being a wrestling fan is WrestleMania 6 in Toronto with Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. I was 6 years old and I cried when Hulk Hogan lost. Um, that was my dad kind of told me I was a goofball for crying. He's like, he already knew he was going to lose. And I didn't mind the fourth wall break. I still liked it. I still watch it. You know, even when you get spoilers on certain things, sometimes it just intrigues me to watch it even more just because I want to view it through my own eyes, you know?
I'll tell you, we were at, was it Saturday Night Main Event in DC when Cena retired.
Oh, this
I
one?
got choked up, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. I got choked up. I did. You know, I'm not too manly to admit that I was like, bro, it's John Cena, you know?
I got choked up at WrestleMania 12, the Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. You know that after he won, the boyhood dream has come true, and he was sitting there, and I basically cried with Shawn Michaels for a little bit.
I'll tell you that our thing on this podcast on Wrestle Buddy Veterans is that we try to offer a little nuanced take and to kind of like take a step back and view things of how they should be perceived or how WWE wants us to perceive them. And I felt like with John Cena's last match, I was just, this is perfect. I thought it was hauntingly beautiful because, you know, you've grown up with this guy for 20 plus years and you feel a certain way, and the guy that never gives up was just kind of ready to move on, and that hurts. It's supposed to hurt, but you know what? He left us with all these memories, and we can always go back and watch them. And you know, he's always around. But I just thought it was a beautiful way to end it, and the smile on his face, that's what gets me, is that he was just accepting of his fate. Sorry, I'm geeking out right now. So I know that you guys, your company, and you do Monday Night Raw. You don't do SmackDown, I don't believe.
Not regularly.
You do the Peacock special Saturday night, about to be Sunday night's main event next month, and then the smaller PEs, the big four PLEs. When you prep for those events, how early are you starting the preparation for each of those events?
That's a great question. I guess the easiest way to explain it is that at this point, like Monday Night Raw has become a relatively mature operation for us. So like we're doing it every week. The basic operating model is established, but the building changes every week. So that means venue approval, airspace, insurance, logistics, RF, flight areas, and then venue-specific restrictions still need to be addressed. Those conversations preferably are happening weeks ahead, obviously, rather than in the week leading up to the show. We maintain a forward schedule and start working through venue approvals as reasonably early as we can. For like a normal Raw, we're probably 6 to 8 shows ahead. So 6 to 8 weeks ahead.
Oof.
Yeah. The actual show-specific creative stuff, obviously that stuff is happening closer to air. But the operational prep is, again, anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. Ideally, by the time I get on the airplane on a Sunday, all the major stuff is taken care of. And the on-site portion is execution, not discovering like issues that got missed. Saturday Night Main Event, smaller PLEs, a little bit more prep time. Kind of as soon as they hit the schedule, as soon as we're officially assigned, which is basically as soon as the schedule is published, I'll ask the WWE staffer who coordinates the initial conversations between my team and the venue to start those, because they're typically larger venues or higher profile venues, Addison Square Garden, Capital One Arena, who have, I want to say, who have a more robust review requirement.
Okay.
And then the major PLEs, I mean, we started working on last year for Mania. We started working on Mania in beginning of February, I think, maybe last week of January. And we didn't have a final approval for Monday until Monday morning for the Raw after Mania. We didn't have a final approval for that show from the house until that morning. This past year in Vegas was a little bit easier because it was kind of the same venues. So there was still a pretty significant review process. But we got way in front of it, and it was kind of already templated from our experience 25. So it wasn't nearly as heavy of a lift, and everything was in order a lot sooner. And then most of those major markets were the venues. For whatever reason, I don't know who comes, like these city planners, I don't understand it. But city planners have a tendency to put large arenas or large stadiums really close to an airport.
Yeah.
It's I don't understand it. Like, I think what is it down in is it Tampa? I think Tampa, Raymond James, it shares a perimeter fence with the airport. Like, what? Anyways, one of the bigger hurdles is dealing with the FAA on getting that airspace cleared. Our flight areas get much smaller. Our time windows get much more accurate with less pre and post play time. Like, the show goes on at we'll say 3:00 local time. Our flight window opens at 2:30 and closes a half hour after the show's over. Typically, when I do land stuff, the automated airspace authorizations, I'll just be like, our time's here. We'll start at 3 hours before, and I'll just do a full 12-hour window, because who knows if they're going to ask me to go back out. But when you start dealing with the manual authorizations and the safety case that you got to present the FAA to be this close to an airport, I'm starting 90, 120 days out, because back and forth, and can you change this and can you change that? So months, it's 6 to 8 weeks for the weekly show. I'd love to do 6 months for a major. Honestly, it's just, there's a lot of moving parts.
So with the PLEs that are outside of the United States, is how much is that? Like, because you're about to have the first WrestleMania outside of the United States as well.
So we don't do Canada,
right?
We don't do Mexico, and we don't do the EU or the UK. We can play in Saudi. I went to what was the show in January in Saudi Arabia? Yes, thank you. They all kind of blend together at this point. And it was just me, right? So this was kind of the entree into getting the team to be able to go to Saudi, because again, it's a regulatory issue with not being a citizen and not having a Saudi license. The hoops to jump through as a non-citizen operator just set them on fire and keep them moving, and maybe you'll get lucky. So we partnered with a local operator over there who effectively acted as the remote pilot command. And then I exercised his privilege to be the person that manipulated the controls for one of the drones that we had up, right? And that seems like it's probably going to be the best avenue moving forward. I don't think we're going to get any extra time for the show in Saudi next year. I think we're just going to, knowing, again, lessons learned, right? That's the name of the game, is lessons learned. We just know we have to start that process with this operator maybe a little bit sooner than we did for Royal Rumble, to make sure that everything's in order, because we are talking about bringing the full team, because it's going to be this huge series of events. I know when we did this year's Mania in Vegas, we worked 11 11 separate shoots in 9 days. And that's 11 different venues, including like Scenics on the Strip, right? That counts as a venue. But 11 separate venues in 9 days, and it was something like 115 clock hours, but times 4.3 because my team grew to 6 people Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's a lot, and I'm expecting. I've been told to anticipate something similar for Mania in Saudi next year.
So, Todd, I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite city abroad that you've gone to, you've been afforded the opportunity to see because of your work with WWE?
I think technically Riyadh's the only place I've been outside of the country with WWE.
Okay, I didn't know. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
no EU, no UK. So I'm assuming Perth wasn't the Australia show.
No, and I don't. I'd like to stay away from that conversation. I have some. It's public information. It's just kind of obscure that I came across that kind of had my. I was less than pleased to learn. But I haven't verified the authenticity of information. The company published it themselves, so I have to assume that it's true. Which was just a little disheartening. I tried to get us on that show. I had what I felt was a regulatorily compliant method to get us to that show and to operate inside the venue, and potentially outside the venue, sub 250 rules and registration and licensing. And it looked like it was going to work out. And ultimately, WWE decided to use a local. And listen, I get it because like it costs a lot of money to move 4 guys, right? It makes a lot more financial sense to use a local if you can find a team that you can trust. And I'm never going to begrudge WWE for making fiduciarily responsible decisions. Like that's not, my feelings aren't hurt because they're using another company in the EU or the UK or like that's not the issue. And if you've got a team in those countries that can perform, I mean, just the airfare savings alone, it is a massive win for them, and it makes sense. So I'm certainly not begrudging the decision makers for not sending us all over the world, right? It's one thing for your handheld guys at the ring, like you can't replicate those people. Those people, all of those guys have been doing this for 20 plus years. Like there's no hiring a local to work a ringside camera at WWE. That would be
the jobber equivalent does not exist.
No. But as long as you've got it, you're talking for a one-off or maybe 2 shows, you're using a local. And the team in the UK, I kind of corresponded with at one point just to kind of I don't want to say get them up to speed because I wasn't, but there was some correspondence about how we were doing things here in the States because we had this established thing weekly now. And if my mission is to make sure the product is consistent, whether or not it's me flying, I wouldn't be doing my job or my due diligence, to assist WWE in whatever way they required of me within the scope of what they've hired me to do. So
you want that continuity week to week. So that's kind of a segue into the storytelling aspect on the production. Is there production meetings, director meetings? And if so, are you involved in those or like within the storytelling aspect of what a drone pilot is going to deliver during these storytelling segments?
So there are meetings that occur. I find out what's going on about the same time the ringside guys do, which is as it happens, with exceptions, right? With exceptions, if there's a pre-planned interaction between talent and the drone, where there is where there's a potential safety issue. That is something I've made clear that like I need to know about in advance, and we need to mitigate that risk, so that if that's rehearsals, if that's walkthroughs, if that's whatever that happens to be. But for the most part, we're talking maybe 15 to 20 minutes prior to the show, our director will kind of going through his rundown and saying, I'm going to use you on this entrance, or we're going to use you for this for like the opening shot, big wide ballyhoo crowd shot type thing. So it's a very informal meeting. When those pre-planned interactions do come up, I absolutely do have input. I won't say I try to dive into things creatively. They have a vision, right? They know what they want to see. So the idea will come out, and I evaluate it on can what they're asking for be performed by the aircraft that we have available. So it's more of a technical thing than is a creative thing. And if it can't, or a portion of it can't, what solution can we find that retains the core of what they're trying to accomplish within the performance envelope of the aircraft?
Operational risk management.
Right. And then the safety evaluation, and maybe we can't do that, but we could definitely do this. We could try it. Right. So it's not I think that we really should be F12 in shallow depth of field and come over no, I don't like. Maybe once in a while with some like weird one-off things, but if I'm evaluating it from technical capabilities and safety stuff.
While you're speaking, one of the ones that popped in my head is like when Logan Paul does his spot from the post, and he has the drone. He had the drone land in his hand.
So funny you mentioned that. So that's probably like the craziest or the most fun shot that we've been asked to create. And I don't know if you want to go back even farther to WrestleMania 2025, where Logan Paul's entrance, he came out and everybody thinks it's a GoPro, and he's doing his entrance, and then he points and the drone takes off, and you're looking at the inside of a sold out Allegiant Stadium. He makes his way down to the ring and catches it, right? So fast forward to Money in the Bank, and his that match producer came to me and said, we want to do this thing, and we're not sure if your drone is going to make it. And that was like someone with enough juice to be like, yeah, we'll sign off on that. We'll write you the check for it, whatever. And it wasn't the aircraft we were going to use wasn't a super expensive drone, so it wasn't a big deal. But I went into that situation fully expecting that drone not to survive. So Logan Paul hand launches the drone, catches it in the ring, right? Hands it off. Match goes on. We had it kind of set to the side on top of an advertising element. We'll put it that way. And then later on in the match, he's up on the top rope, and he on camera calls for the drone. Our FPV pilot at the time, Jesse, has to take off from this advertising element, kind of come around the ring and effectively fly it directly into his hand while he's standing up on this top rope. If my memory serves me, Cody comes into frame and suplexes him off the top rope. He hits, and the angle was still great. And then Jay is supposed to splash him from the opposite corner, which he does, and it was awesome. The original plan was that Logan and the drone, we're gonna get thrown into a corner, and then I think it was Jay was supposed to run across the ring and smash him into a corner, and it was going to be that drone shot the whole time. So he's selling in the corner or whatever, and then it just basically goes to black, and then they cut to another handheld camera. And there's no way. I mean, Jay's a big dude. I don't know how close you guys have been to him in person. He's a big dude. There's no way that drone is
giants.
That drone's done. It's cooked. It didn't ultimately turn out that way. So Jay splashes him, and the drone comes flying out of his hand, which in retrospect I think actually played better visually than what was planned. And it still amazes me. Like I watch that sequence back sometimes, and it isn't that we were prepared to sacrifice a drone. It's more of like the level of flight control that Jesse had to safely land that drone in Logan's hand, both at WrestleMania and Money in the Bank, combined with all of the communication that was happening. I mean, we had 3 guys out on the floor to effectively triangulate and make sure the depth, because you don't, after a certain distance, your depth perception degrades on that drone. So it's like, we had people going, you're good, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then he kills the props, and Logan, it was wild. There's a lot of people and a lot of moving pieces involved in something as simple as flying a drone into someone's hand, right?
Was it a flip?
No, that was custom built Sub 250.
Okay. Because I literally have got my daughter standing on the back of my tailgate out in our driveway, and the neighbors are looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm practicing landing the drone in her hand, and I've got a little DJI flip.
No, this was it was a custom built FPV drone running a DJI 04 Pro VTX. And so he comes in, and when he's, let me see if I can get this, when he's a little Star Wars thing. So when he's like here, he's literally killing the props, right? It's like just killing the props. And so there was a lot of rehearsals involved in that. And it was just like flying ability, production, talent, safety, storytelling, all that stuff just kind of intersected in this perfect synergistic moment. It's probably the coolest single shot we've ever had to pull off for WWE.
I don't want to sound like what's his name, Chris Farley, interviewing Paul McCartney on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but do you remember that time when he played Hey Jude? That was awesome. My favorite drone shot, and if it's not yours, I apologize. My favorite drone shot is the Bad Bunny entrance at Backlash in Puerto Rico. Was that you?
That was our team. Same pilot. Jesse was flying it. That was the first time that we had ever done interior work for WWE, and it was a nightmare.
Okay.
Before
you tell the story, because we know that when it comes to entrances, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance that can come to it. We've had live bands, Living Color plays for CM Punk. We've multiple Saliva playing for Batista. It's just like, it's what wrestling is at these big events or big moments. It's extravagant. And that was like real simple. It was very simple, and it just utilized the crowd and the presence of the crowd and the fervor that they had for Bad Bunny himself that just made you feel like you were there with that shot. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there.
That was the whole concept off rip with that shot. Like our director was like, he's going to walk out, and it's going to be the biggest pop we've ever had in an arena show. So we don't want to overblow the production elements. We want the crowd to be the production element, right? That ranks right up there. It does. It ranks right up there just because, it was insane. It was absolutely insane. The crowd in Puerto Rico was second to none.
Why was it such an ass pain, if you're allowed to tell us?
No, it was because we didn't know anything. It was our first show. So like, we don't have comms with lighting, so we don't know when blackouts are coming. Yeah. We don't know when blackouts are coming. And we hadn't developed the same, set of like, interface technology that we're using presently, where we have a lot more control over the camera. Cause you gotta remember, FPV pilot is in the goggles with a remote. He can't change camera settings while he's got a full manual drone in the sky. He's flying this drone. So now we have methods for hands-free our FPV pilots to be able to click over into like full auto with the camera. So if we get a blackout, you click over to full auto and the ISO goes to 9,000 or whatever, some ridiculous number, and you can still kind of see your surroundings at that point with the DJI Avata 1. It went to blackout, and I'm watching the little strobe that we've got attached, and I'm like, you're drifting back, you're drifting forward, like it was just, and he's blind, he's completely blind. In his goggles, it's completely black, and we're like, this is unsafe. For I think that was Friday, because that was SmackDown, and then Backlash was Saturday. So after Friday, I very politely and very diplomatically and very professionally went to the production team, and I said, we have to figure this out because this is problematically unsafe, and I don't feel comfortable operating in the same fashion tomorrow. And they were super accommodating, super understood, really wrote us into the show so that we knew exactly when we were going up, for exactly what we were going up for. And then on the technical side of things, we got tied into the person calling the lighting cues. So we would know 5 to 7 seconds in advance of when the house lights were going to black out. And we could at least move somewhere. If we couldn't land in that time, we could effectively get somewhere that was more safe to be. So it was, again, learning process. That was our first foray into it. And then we had those lessons learned so that when January 2025 rolled around, we could say, hey, we did this stuff in Puerto Rico. Let's not repeat that, right? And build systems around the lessons that we learned in Puerto Rico.
It kind of sounds like you guys are almost like an offensive staff or a defensive staff in football, where you're all communicating with one another, calling plays in, and ensuring that the right play is called. That's really cool. Do you have conversations with the talent about anything that they may want to do with your drones? Like,
that was going to be my question as well.
Well, yeah, because you got Perry Wayne has Dronehausen. He's got his own drone now. I bought him some Danhausen merch with my human monies to put on his drone. Well, go ahead, Wayne. You asked the question the specific way you wanted to.
Yeah, no, Todd. I was just curious if, and if I didn't send you these, so if they encroach, obviously you are not obligated to answer. But are there any drone heads or drone enthusiasts back there when it comes to the talent or production team?
There are some talent that I wouldn't call them like enthusiasts because they like drones, but there are definitely some people on the roster that appreciate the dynamic that the drone offers more than others, and have expressed their desire to play more into the drone being part of their performance. Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I wondered if that was going to happen pretty much ever since the Bad Bunny entrance at Backlash. Mm-hmm. What's next? What are you guys thinking next? Having it inside Elimination Chamber, I've always thought would be really cool.
That gets a little dicey because that's basically a giant Faraday cage. So in some of our testing, we've noticed that the RF video suffers a little bit. And then what's our out? Right? Something goes wrong with the drone. What's our out? No, we're not going to hit a spectator at that point. But there's something to be said for, the drone running into someone that's worth millions of dollars to the company.
Right. I always thought of almost like a matchbox track, like within the chamber, like the drone is on the cage itself, and you can matchbox,
like mounted on a rail. In a sense, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think there's different tools that could accomplish that would be safer and effectively provide more reliable video. I think there's something to be said for maybe doing something at the beginning of the Elimination Chamber where we follow someone in, and then before the door gets closed and locked, we're out. I don't foresee it being a thing presently, just from a safety perspective, because once that door's locked, we can't rebat. So like even a match goes longer than 11 minutes and we can't get the drone out to put a new battery in it, type thing. So
Any chance, Todd, that we can pitch the mini Dronehausen army to follow him down to the ring to creative? Think will that fly?
you're assuming that idea already hasn't been broached.
See, that's the thing. You got to get your idea. Once you have the idea, you got to get it out into the ether because it's not original for very long.
I've had a conversation with Mr. Hausen himself, and we ultimately came to the conclusion that something like that we think would do better for digital or socials than live TV.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
So cool.
I'd love for the drone to be doing something, and it's like you are cursed, and he misses and hits the drone, and the drone falls out of the sky. I think that's a great idea. I just don't know how we do it safely and make it a storytelling element.
Well, so you had mentioned with the like digital shorts, things that can be much more produced rather than live and in action. Are there ways to utilize those drone cameras are you guys planning on doing that? If you can't tell me, that's fine. And or is there a way to use drone cameras in a more like a sitcom type atmosphere where you have like an actual structured show, maybe just fueled by drone footage rather than actual handheld cameras?
So we play along with all of the departments at TV. So if digital comes to us during the show, or while we're on site and says, "Hey, we want to do this thing," we'll do the thing. We're there to support the mission's the mission. We're there to support the mission. So if a department comes to us and says they want something and we can do it safely, and the people that I report to have approved it, of course we're gonna do whatever it is that's being asked of us within scope. To answer the second part of your question, I don't know. I think from like I'm thinking about that show that had a group of acquaintances that were in New York City back in the 90s, maybe early 2000s.
Are you talking about like Friends?
I mean, maybe. I didn't want to say it out loud. And I don't know how you would, because they're all set pieces, right? So I don't know how you integrate as far as sitcoms go, right? I don't know if you're in a studio shooting a sitcom. I don't really know how you integrate a drone as a storytelling element or another camera. Like I'm not sure what value that would add. I see things that like what is it, SWAT? I think it's like SWAT on one of the major networks or whatever. They use drones all the time. They're out in LA or wherever the set happens to be. I'm seeing drones a lot more in produced television shows. I just don't. I can't see them really becoming prevalent in studio based recordings, right? So, but definitely, it's like every time there's someone's outside, there's a drone shot somewhere. I am seeing it become much more prevalent in produced shows with exterior locations, right?
Mainly for like scenic shots, almost.
Yeah, scenics, establishing shots. A lot of if something's happening in car chases, interstitials for car stuff. Where else did I see a really good use? I think it was some Amazon Prime show where it opened on on a drone shot, and this drone shot must have been like 3.5, 4 minutes long. It was a long drone shot, and arguably a very complex. Like they were, start high wide, come down forest area, and they're like in trees, and I'm like, man, if I didn't know better, I'd be like, oh, this is CGI. But it was very clear to me that it was a highly skilled pilot and team who had rehearsed this shot probably 500 times. But it was really impressive. And for a director, to hang on to a drone shot for that long is something I think, you don't really see that much, because again, I think a lot of directors think about this as well. This is going to be a 5-second locator shot. This is going to be a 7-second scenic, because we've gone from, inner city LA to the Napa Valley, and it's beautiful, right? So we need to establish that we're in the Napa Valley. But seeing it used to start to evoke emotion, I think is what's next. You can get a movement out of the drone camera that you can't get from another camera. And I think good directors are finding ways to use that creatively to tell the story, move the story forward, and create an emotion that they're effectively wanting to create in the viewer.
Nice.
All right, we're gonna close it out with a few just random type questions, nothing too crazy. Who's the funniest person? Who's the funniest talent at WWE that you've interacted with?
The funniest.
And before you say it, Adam and I will guess.
Okay.
Go with, I almost want Adam and I to be like 1, 2, 3, shoot, because I bet we're going to say the same person.
Well, now I think we are too, but now I want to say something different.
All right, we're going to do it. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Solo Sikoa.
Oh, really?
I have not had personal interaction with Solo as of yet.
I just want to know
you're close, though.
We were on
close.
the Solo train way before this has come along.
You're really close, though. It's Jay.
Jay?
It's Jay, right? Because I think there's, I don't necessarily want to pull back the curtain too much, but it's like there are people that are their character in the ring, and then they are not their character once they're out of the ring. Jay's the same dude. Like what you're seeing in the ring is 100% Jay Uso in real life. He's not. There's no. And it's great. It's I love it. It's amazing.
He's had his moments where people make him laugh, and he's trying to hold it in. And I mean, just the dynamic. Yeah, I was there for that. I was in St. Louis. You're not feeling very easy. I could just see like Solo, his maturation, his charisma. I see a lot of him tapping into his little brother that he was to Jimmy and Jay, and little cousin to Roman and Jacob, because he's just I could just imagine Solo just messing with his older brother so much.
Mm-hmm.
At one time he was smaller than them, and just had to be really clever, really smart, and really sarcastic just to get something out of his brothers. And you're seeing that in full now. It's just awesome. Best city you've been to. Does the catering change when you go to different cities?
The catering changes insofar as, let me hold on. Before I even answer that question, WWE catering, hands down. I mean, these people kill it every single week. It is. I've never walked into catering and been like, ugh. It's amazing every single week. And yes, it does change week to week. Like there's some standard staples. It's always available, but they try to be thematic to where you are, right? They try to pull like the famous local cuisine or whatever's relevant to that city, right? They usually provide something. That we were just in Buffalo. Well, guess what was on the spread?
Some wings, baby.
Some wings, right? Yeah, it's amazing. Catering at WWE is. I mean, I've worked at a lot of different productions, hands down, not even a question. They're the best catering in the business.
I am too. Leave it to the 3 military guys to make sure we snuck catering and food, and we get to talk about the food. I love it.
So who has the best barbecue? So I'm because there's a lot of places that claim they have the best barbecue. The best.
I am not gonna open myself up to being targeted in any type of fashion without permission or without authorization from the director. I can neither confirm nor.
It's St. Louis.
That's fair.
That's where
Says the native.
Okay. Wayne and I are not the only ones that have noticed this, and you had mentioned that you don't travel to the EU to the UK. Can you describe why there is a difference between the cacophony that is the crowd between certain U.S. cities and then outside of the United States? It just seems like there's this vast difference of interaction and understanding the assignment that the crowd is a part of the show. Do you know why that is?
I have some theories. My top of the list theory is exposure. A different city in the U.S. gets 2 shows every week. Rinse, repeat. Obviously when they're out of, but just call it 42 weeks a year. They're doing an NXT, a SmackDown, and a Raw somewhere in the United States. So it's like, we've seen it. It's still cool. It's still great to go to. Whereas the EU, the UK gets 6, 8 shows a year ish, give it TV shows, right?
They're thirsty.
And then hooliganism. Have you ever seen a Europe soccer match? A UK soccer match? These people are insane. It only makes sense to me that same mentality would transfer over to a WWE show. I just honestly think it comes down to the culture. It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, Buffalo was really good last Monday. I thought they showed out. I texted my buddy who's from Buffalo. I was like, you guys, your city understood the assignment, because they are part of the show and they can really dictate how things are perceived, whether it be actual stories that are happening in the ring or just the actual enjoyment of the match. I think a match can be really good, but if the crowd is kind of dead, when the crowd is into it, it makes the show that much better.
100%.
I wish that in the States, maybe not at MSG, not at Chicago, St. Louis, I don't think needs it. I think there should be like a hype man, an MC that, goes out there and says, because the card of what is going to happen on Raw, obviously not everything. Adam Pearce does his little, this is what to expect on Raw. And why not have, hey, Solo's going to be here. What's his catchphrase? Well, it's pew pew now. So make sure that, like if I'm the hype man there, I'm like, hey, Solo Dolo, pew pew, or, certain chants. Because I think it's an educational process. You want fans to be invested. Well, and you want to make casual fans, and you get most casual fans in these cities that you go to because they're like, hey, son, daughter, let's go see a wrestling show. They're going to be here Monday night. So you go there. It's an educational process. Like, oh, this is what we chant when Bailey's out there, some cities will sing the song, hey, hey, Bailey. Ooh, that's something I would like to see that more often. So you're educating the crowd on how to be a fan and how to be a part of the show. That's my 2 cents. But
Adam has firsthand experience with this as well at the WrestleMania that we went to some years ago at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. Adam played the hype man as we were getting to our seats and whatnot. There's probably, I think what that stadium holds, 90 plus thousand people?
I think so. I think the official number was around 65,000 in attendance.
Okay, I'm a little elevated. Adam probably had 25 plus thousand people that were, already in their seats and piling into that stadium. He started the Ric Flair woo. He just let it rip. It was like woo, and you heard it and felt it. The woo chant started with Adam, and it circled all the way around the stadium.
Yeah, but
that's
just the most thing that I want that I've seen is this just a crowd involvement and the way you've captured it when you've like was the Netflix on Raw? Was that the first time that very first Netflix on Raw in Los Angeles? That wasn't the first time you guys panned in over the crowd, was it?
We won't talk about that one because the debut was performed by another organization that I think that's probably as far as I can go. We did not fly the Netflix premiere. That was flown by another company.
Okay. Well, it wasn't that great anyway, so
No, the work was great. It looked great.
All right. You have any other random questions, Wayne, that you want to throw at Todd before we close this out?
No, I just thank you for doing this with us. 10 tons of fun. Thank you.
After and talk about what happened on Raw, man. Like LA Knight and Solo Sikoa are best friends now. # friendship.
Do what you got to do.
All right. Todd, thank you. Like I said, if you need those St. Louis recommendations, I'm more than happy to help. And hopefully we get to see you in New Orleans. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Someone text me and remind me. I'm going to have a lot going on. So text me and remind me and we'll figure it out.
We know we're low on your totem pole, so we won't take it personally. Thank you. Well, again, thanks to Todd for being our first adult interviewee on Wrestle Buddy Veterans. While we were on a break, it was just released that Ilya Dragunov is no longer in WWE.
Shocker.
Or is that facetious?
A little bit, but I mean, he hasn't. Did his contract run out? Like, what? Give me some more tea. Okay, I didn't see what you sent me.
So how did you know that happened?
I did.
I sent it to you. And it says red underneath the text that I sent you. So apparently you're a liar.
Yeah.
You didn't have time. We know what you were doing. You had plenty of time.
Check these notes. So
Ilya's gone. Sure, he's going to be in AEW or maybe he goes to New Japan. Man, I'm not going to get upset. Like, yeah, I think WWE did fumble this one because I thought Ilya, and it almost seems like over the last, but since SummerSlam, it really looks like the in-ring work rate has gotten more of a shine. We'll talk about that a little bit when it comes to what's good, homies. But that in-ring work rate it's been shown through on the shows lately, whether it be SmackDown or Raw. And yeah, Dragunov, that's the type of guy. If you want a in-ring psychologist, go type of guy, that's the type of guy you want. But maybe obviously they didn't have a story for him. You and I had been talking for a while that Baron Corbin being this big bad in the mid-card title scene with the U.S. Championship, that Mello and Ilya were going to be the ones to profit from that because they could feud with Baron Corbin for that title. But it seems like they didn't have a story for him. And I don't know Ilya Dragunov, but he seems like the guy who just wants to be in the ring. And if he's not in the camera, he wants to go somewhere else where he can do that.
Yeah, that's fair. But it makes you wonder, like, why they could have made Ilya the big bad with a heel turn.
Well, when I say big bad, I mean big bad, big meaning like physically big. Ilya's not the biggest guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I really wanted a Gunther Ilya program because their matches have been bangers. When Gunther was Walter. I mean,
Right.
every Mello and Ilya match was amazing. I was hoping we'd get Ilya Trick, fuck, I was even hoping we'd get Ilya Obafemi one day
Right.
just because of the no fucks given that is Ilya when he's in the ring and the massive power and size and athleticism of Obafemi. But maybe
Like
we'll get
Ilya Braun Breaker would have been a banger too.
yeah, but it stinks. I know that, Ricky Saints is still there. I would assume, be involved with the U.S. title scene eventually. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's surprising for sure, but not surprising at the same time.
It's surprising, but also it's not very surprising because he hasn't been used. He's got to, he comes off as a guy who's looking to get that work in, especially in the ring. Go, greener pastures. Go get it done, and we will watch. Go get it done, and Adam will watch and tell me about it.
All right, let's go to what's good, homies. We're going to talk about Raw and SmackDown. First up, that Chelsea Green promo. And it's been a couple of weeks or 2 weeks now that they have not used the interim tag in front of her being the champion.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's because they didn't know, or I'm sure they were told when the interim tag was on there, Rhea Ripley hadn't gotten surgery. Now she has had surgery on that knee, and they got rid of that interim tag the last 2 weeks. So I think she's just champion now. And that's what made this promo that she had. Chelsea Green broke her orbital bone a couple weeks back in the ring. Nick Aldis comes out and tells her that she has to relinquish her title. And Chelsea Green cut a promo that gave me, I'm even thinking about it right now. My hair is standing, and it was heartfelt. It was raw, even though they were on SmackDown. It was emotional, and it told a story within it, on how she's been overlooked. And while being overlooked, she's always asked to do these things for the company, and she does them. No questions asked. She had mentioned how she was in a dumpster and taking pies to the face and pretty much just being a utility player for them. And she even pulled on Nick Aldis's strings where, like, people like you and me, we don't get these opportunities. So it really hurts that you're the one taking this title from me. Just say it, Nick.
No, it was a fantastic promo, very organic, very skirting the line between like kayfabe and reality because of how true it was and how strong her delivery was, how much conviction there was in that, and yeah, it gave her what 30 days, 30 days to defend the title.
Well, he said, yeah, 30 days to either get healthy or find a proper mask, I guess. I'm assuming, a broken bone is a broken bone. However, when basketball players, those are the ones that I go to when I think of, oh, they got a broken bone in their face, they're going to have to wear a mask. They don't play for maybe a game or two, and that could be like a week's worth of games, like just a week on the calendar. And then they show up and they have this mask on because enough healing has occurred for for a doctor to clear them to play with this mask on. I'm guessing that they did this 30-day get healthy, 30 days. That's going to give her enough time to heal up a little bit, and then she'll wear a mask. And it looks like Nia Jax might be the one coming after her. That I think Nia Jax is great, a great wrestler, and what she does for others is amazing. But you got a broken face. You might want to be careful being in the ring with Nia Jax. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she's a face breaker.
She's literally a face breaker, for better or for worse. And, it's for worse for your actual physical appearance and the pain that you feel, but it's for the better because of what happens afterwards. You could just ask Becky Lynch.
Right.
Nick Aldis, his heartstrings were pulled, and he's given her the opportunity to be healthy. Chelsea Green, that is. What's good, homies? While the AAA Lucha tournament it is now heavy in favor of WWE superstars are the only ones left within the lucha tournament. They are luchadors, but they are, they're signed to WWE, not actually to AAA. I thought this tournament has been fucking awesome. The matches have been bangers. Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Dragon Lee on Monday Night Raw. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's been great. We had that other one on Raw where he looked like the Gold Power Ranger. I can't remember who it was, but man, that match was awesome. Like every match is against Rey Fenix. They've just been all really good matches, and the crowd has been super into it.
Yes.
They've been given this product, and whereas maybe at the beginning of the match in certain cities the crowd has been tepid, like once you're like 2 minutes into it, the crowd is fully invested. And I thought this lucha tournament has just been awesome.
Yeah, these guys lived up to their reputation. They just put on banging ass wrestling matches, and that's what's been happening throughout the tournament. Yeah, Dragon Lee's match was fantastic. Yeah, and then the crowd doing their job, like you said, they're on board. They know whenever these matches come up, they're going to get something fun, and they responded accordingly. So kudos to them as well.
Yeah, and they're telling a story too, because Dom, he had a chance to be in the tournament and it didn't work out. There's something's happening with Dominic Mysterio, and they're bringing his losing streak that he's had on WWE, and they're bringing in his complete like top stature. He's the AAA Mega Champion in AAA, and they're interweaving that tale and having his daddy involved too. But we are getting Dominic Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, I believe, at Worlds Collide, but I'm not 100% sure. Something's happening with Dom. It's just the tea leaves are out there. Rey Mysterio and Chad Gable gave us fucking masterpiece, man. Rey Mysterio's 51 years old.
Yeah, that dude, he's timeless. That was every match on Raw. I was like, oh shit, like literally in sequence throughout the entire show. I was like, oh, that's the match of the night. And then every match was just better and better and better. And you're like, what the hell is going on? That was a wrestling show on Monday night. Good gracious. And they capped it off with Rey Mysterio and Chad Gable, and those guys tore the fucking house down.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, Rey Mysterio is, when you add longevity to it, he might be one of the 3 best of all time.
Right.
I mean, he's just been going since I think he was like 16 years old.
He's been wrestling for over 30 years.
Yeah. Like Rey Mysterio is amazing. Chad Gable obviously is amazing. I'm interested, like, are we just getting like almost like a US Open challenge, but with the IC title with Chad Gable as of right now? There really isn't a actual story, which I'm fine with, because every Chad Gable match, when you allot him the time and just allow him to be a wrestler, you're going to get money's worth,
Yeah.
On SmackDown, we have a new United States champion, JC Jane. Now all of the Fatal Influence members are dripped in gold. Fallon Henley, Lacey Reed, and JC Jane are all champions. We got the women's tag champs and a US tag champ. One thing that I noticed that was super cool was when JC Jane got the winning pin, the referee went down to do the count, but when JC Jane rolled up Tiffany Stratton's legs, she turned Tiffany Stratton's shoulders away from the referee. And I thought it was great by the referee. The referee was like, well, I can't finish the pin here because I can't see her shoulders. And she repositioned herself in order to be there for the shoulders being pinned and counted the 3. I thought just that quick, because I don't think the producers in her earpiece had enough time to tell her to move. She was just instinctual. I can't see the shoulders. I got to get in a better position. I thought that was really awesome. So kudos to her, the referee there. I'm all in for a JC Jane championship reign.
Yeah, I like it, and I like what it does for her character. The way Fatal Influence has been handled or booked since arriving on the main card. Um, Kudos to creative. They've made that first night they were on SmackDown. They're beating everybody up and interfering in multiple matches, and they've just been getting rub, shine, push since they arrived, and they haven't there haven't really been any like notable flubs. Big flubs like in the ring on the mic. They're solid.
Well, they've injured two people in a row, Chelsea, and then they injured someone prior to that. But it's Brie Bella.
They're badass.
Well, I think it's just been a steady progression of their rise, and when they first showed up on SmackDown, they came out and confronted Rhea Ripley, and immediately were just bathed in booze and just basked in it and had no issue. And they're really good heels. They got an instant rub from being on camera with Rhea Ripley, the most popular women's wrestler, if not the most popular wrestler in WWE. And then they get a program with legends in the Bellas and Paige, and then they win titles there, and they immediately move on to getting even more gold. So they are fully cemented into the SmackDown structure. I'd be surprised if they weren't on every SmackDown show, because now they have titles, and they might be the best heels on SmackDown right now. I mean, Gunther is a really good heel, but I think Influence might be the best heels on SmackDown right now.
It's fair.
All right, questions for the homies. Punk and KO on Friday had their second interaction with one another. Gotta say, here's my question. How do I part the fucked up thing that Punk said to Kevin Owens and be okay with a great promo? I thought both of them are really good on the mic. There is something that is starting to bug me about CM Punk with his promos, and it's separate from him using endometriosis as a fucking dig at KO, because KO has a tummy, and when you have endometriosis, you are bloated as a woman. For those that do not know, endometriosis, it affects the reproductive organs of women. My wife, before I met her, has endometriosis. Before I met her, she had a false pregnancy. Like, she thought she was pregnant. It turns out that she wasn't, and she ended up bursting a fallopian tube. And that is also the reason that my 13-year-old son was born early, because of my wife's endometriosis. Couldn't sustain the child in her womb for a full term. He was born at 27 weeks, 3 months early, at 2 pounds, 14 ounces. Looked like a little purple fucking alien. He's fine now. Great, healthy. Everything's good. Once we knew that we were going to have McKinley, we made sure that Lindsay was taking all the drugs in order to make sure that McKinley was in the womb for full term, and she was, and she came out on her due date. But you can use something else as a dig, like, just say, like, you look like you ate a lot of dairy. That makes people bloat. But to use something that fucks women up and only women get, man. I mean, if you're leaning into the heel that you are, I guess that's a good way to do it. But
Yeah, makes you wonder if he was clairvoyant with his promo, or if that was something creative gave him, because the personality that you see him showcase, like in Unreal and whatnot, does not lend itself to being like, oh yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he said something like that. Now, is he opinionated? For sure, but I wonder if that was more Punk or more creative. And the only way I see to
zero
part.
creative. I think that was all CM Punk.
Okay. Um, if I was going to part it, I would say you part it with saying he said it in kayfabe. It was, that is not Exactly. That may be how the mind of this character that works, but not how his mind as a human being works.
Perhaps. And you know, I'm not trying to cancel CM Punk or anything like that.
I'm with you.
It just bugged me, and that's okay that it bugs me. It's not going to go any further than that. I just thought it was a little fucked up. That's all.
Yeah, he was working heel for sure. He's kind of mean.
One thing that I've noticed when it comes to CM Punk, and he doesn't do this all the time. Like he didn't do it with Roman. He didn't do it with Seth. He did it once with Drew McIntyre, but he's both promos that he's had with Kevin Owens. He's done it. I'm okay with you interrupting someone when they're in mid promo. You know, like how Cody goes, "Will you shut the hell up?" Or how Seth Rollins did it to The Rock, Mr. Midlife Crisis. But Punk, it's getting a little bit more consistent. He did it with Sami Zayn as well. He has this way of interrupting them while not really saying anything to kind of like throw them off their thought process. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully somebody just clap back at him and be like, no, shut up. I'm still talking.
With Kevin Owens, he's like all my friends hate you, and Punk's like, oh, your three friends hate me. Say their names, knowing that Kevin Owens can't say their names because it's the Young Bucks in AEW and I think Kenny Omega. But Owens was like, oh no, it's not just those friends. All my friends hate you. Or, you know, he did it with Drew McIntyre where Drew McIntyre was talking about how he was the chosen one. And CM Punk's like, who chose you? Say their name. Who chose you? You're right. You do have to be prepared for those things to happen. You have to be quick witted. And KO was prepared for it. But it happens. It happened even more. Like you don't have to put the microphone up to your mouth to laugh. We can see that you're laughing. But to have it where it's loud enough to, I don't know, fuck with the thought process of the other person, it just seems a little bitchy.
It's like he's got bad promo etiquette or something.
Or he doesn't want to be out promoed. That's my thing, is that CM Punk is known to have like the best mic skills in the game. If someone's getting one over on him, he's like, no, you can't do that. I'm the best. Like,
I'm with you.
so, I mean, tomorrow night we're getting in Toronto. They've already sold over 14,000 tickets there in Toronto. We're getting KO versus CM Punk for that title. I said to you last week, I don't think KO is going to win, but I definitely think KO is going to get the lion's share of the cheers.
But yeah, no doubt. Oh yeah, yeah.
They'll still sing CM Punk's song, but I think once that bell rings, I think they're going to be fully behind Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
Soul and Lyra, I thought was a great match on Monday night. A lot of the matches on Monday night, with the exception of Rey Mysterio. I mean, Chad Gable is not a new talent, but he is new to the singles title. We got a lot of just fresh matchups, you know?
Yeah.
So Lyra came out there looking a little less dingy than usual, perhaps because she was actually going to wrestle in the ring. I really love her new music. I think you still get the dun dun dun. Woo, you can still get that in. It's almost kind of like Finn Balor's remix of his music when he was in Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
Soul and Lyra have great chemistry in the ring, but ultimately Sol Ruca ended up winning that match, which means she's going to get a rematch for IC title against Raquel Rodriguez. A lot of the online folks are, how can you have Lyra lose just immediately after turning heel? Like this was her first match since Bayley. A lot of people are stereotyping Lyra's heel turn. Oh, they're just making her a batshit crazy, just like everybody else. But the thing is that there's nuance. If you're just gonna say a heel is batshit crazy, that encompasses men and women in general when they're heel. They're all kind of crazy, right? When
Sure.
you're a bad guy. She's gonna have time to develop this character. I mean, they had a little self interview of her after the match talking to herself. I'm interested to see where this character goes. What do you got to say?
I thought the match was fantastic, and I thought it was probably Sol Ruka's best match since she's been on the main card. I know she had some good ones with Becky Lynch, but like bell to bell, and you know, I want to give Sol her flowers, but Lyra is, you want to talk about dance partner, Lyra's the one, and so they both look great, put on a great match. Um, yeah, as for the IWC quacking about Lyra losing, that's, you know, everybody's got an opinion. Um, this is one of those, be patient, give it time. Could it be a one-off? Sure. Could it be that this is just a setup for Lyra to come out and attack Sol at some point moving forward in the near future? Maybe. You know, we'll see. Just because you don't agree with the outcome of one match, their first match, let just pump the brakes and we'll see what it looks like a week, 2 weeks, a month from now.
Enjoy the match that we got because it was really good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really know. Again, what type of heel is she? What are they going to do with her character? We're just going to have to stand by and see, and we'll find out. I don't.
They didn't have that self interview after for no reason. They didn't make it just to make it. There's a reason for it, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Next time, who's the next big thing? You know, Braun Breaker comes out there and he wants to call out Obafemi. Paul Heyman comes out. Oba comes out. The crowd was just... Buffalo was really good on Monday Night Raw. They were on fire, Obafemi. Braun asked Paul...
It went viral real quick. It was funny. Who's the future, Paul? Who's the future, Paul?
Yeah. So Braun asked Paul earlier, who's the future, Paul? And Obafemi comes out and asking stupid questions. Who's the future, Paul? Braun Breaker almost broke.
Yeah.
That was a spot on impression of Braun Breaker. Spot on. And these two wanted to go at it. But you know what Heyman did? He played promoter. He went full Don King. He's like, oh, we're not just going to do this on a Monday night. You know, he did his version of wrestling foreplay. And he made sense while doing it. I already spoke to Adam Pearce. We're going to get this at Sunday night's main event, September 6th, in your hometown of Atlanta, home field advantage. So we're about to get a collision between Braun and Oba, and I am excited.
Yeah, I am too. I love the direction for both of them coming out of SummerSlam with this feud, and I thought the Paul Heyman of it all was just a beautiful like pivot from what you're asking yourself. Oh, who's he going to side with? Is he going to side with Oba or Braun, or what does all that look like? And that's kudos to creative, because you know, we're sitting here asking ourselves the wrong question, basically, at least in that moment, because they pivoted, like you said, and Heyman turned into promoter and was basically straddling both sides of the fence, and it was great. They took us down. You never could have. The question that you and I would have asked each other is, oh, is he going to be with Oba, or is he going to be with Braun? And we would not have probably, from that question, been able to come to the conclusion of, well, maybe he's just going to straddle the fence and play promoter. We never would have fucking came up with that. So good job, creative.
I assume that Obafemi's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I also, would you build this as who's the future? Does the loser of the match, is this a disservice to them?
I don't think Oba's gonna win, to be honest with you. I think Oba can take that loss more than Braun can. You know, Braun lost the Seth Rollins thing. He wasn't at SummerSlam. Braun needs a win. This could be where Bronson Reed gets reintroduced, and so Oba loses, but Schmarmy and Braun and the Vision or whatever, they start building up a head of steam with the return of Bronson Reed. I could see something like that.
I could see Bronson Reed getting involved, but at the same time, I think that does more of a disservice to Braun Breaker by having someone else get involved and then he wins. Because if we're talking about the next big thing and who's the future, you don't want that to happen via influence from the outside,
I understand your point. To that, I'll say he's a heel. He can, the next big thing. I get it. You want him to, to win clean is the strongest possible showing for either one of them. But Braun's the heel. Bronson Reed's been gone. This is how you reintroduce him. Oba doesn't take.
You're not understanding me. I understand that he's a heel. But when we talk about the next big thing, it's obviously a reference to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was a heel almost his whole career, but he was doing it on his own. That's what they're trying to build. They want, like, if you want to be the next big thing and be a heel, well, you're kind of a version of Brock Lesnar. Want to be the next big thing and be a face? Well, there really isn't anybody but I can think of like Obafemi from the past. So you can't be the next big thing. You can be a heel and be the next big thing, but I don't think you can be a Paul Heyman guy and build as the next big thing and have people helping you win, is what I'm saying.
That's fair.
The only outcome that I don't want is Paul Heyman siding or Obafemi siding with Paul Heyman. Just because I think Obafemi, he doesn't need a mouthpiece. He doesn't need a griot because of Obafemi's Nigerian descent. A griot is a storyteller, is like the intellectual librarian of stories in African culture. I don't think Obafemi needs that. He's his own storyteller.
Agreed. And he's a good one, too.
Very much so. So for nuance for the homies, Liv Morgan came out and confronted Stephanie Victor with Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez by her side. Within her promo, as she sauntered down the aisleway to the ring, she said that she doesn't care about the women who come after her. She doesn't care about the women who will be wrestling once she's not there anymore. And she can't have it both ways. She can't have Roxanne Perez as her little prodigy and tout her as her prodigy, and then also say that she doesn't care about these women that are going to be wrestling when she's gone.
Yeah, so it's Roxanne Perez has got a turn coming eventually. We just gotta kind of wait and see when that's going to happen. But with everything that Liv is saying on the mic and being somewhat contradictory, yeah, it's coming, and it's time too. Either time now or here shortly. Let's get that Roxanne turn and see what the pop is like for her after that happens. I bet it's going to be loud.
Yeah, we got Roxanne versus Stephanie Victor on Monday Night Raw next week, so maybe some more nuggets will be shared there. What I've noticed about Stephanie Victor with her promos, obviously she's a great promo when she's speaking Spanish. It's awesome, but she's gotten really good at delivering like these one-liners. Wrestling is my language. She said something to Becky in the back when they confronted one another. I can't remember what it was, but it was like to the point, direct, and end of question. And I think that's really, really cool. I'm not bilingual. She is, so she's obviously smarter than I am. I do go back and try to find out what she said when she is speaking in Spanish. A lot of the shit she was saying on the road to WrestleMania against Liv Morgan was very vulgar.
Right.
So that was awesome. But yeah, she's getting really good at these one-liners. And it also helps that she she's across from Liv and Becky Lynch, who are two of the best on the mic. Becky Lynch being one of the best, I think, ever on the mic. So that probably helps out a lot as well.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm looking forward to that match, Raquel and La Primera on Monday night. I don't know how it's
And in La Primera.
Roxanne Perez. Sorry. Um, that'll be a banger. I'm curious, where the schmarm comes from. If it's with the ladies from Judgment Day, or if it's Becky, or both. Um, we'll see. I think the match itself will slap. I think the end's going to have some schmarm to it, though.
Yeah, some kind of miscommunication is going to happen. We're just not sure where it's going to come from.
Right.
Just real quick, we've talked about the Big Cass and Javon Evans thing before. I'm liking it. Javon Evans called out Big Cass. He did not show up. There was an impromptu match between JD McDonough and Javon Evans, which was awesome.
Yeah, God.
JD McDonough sells his ass off. Just Dolph Ziggler, Roman Reigns, Shawn Michaels-esque of selling.
Agreed.
And then once the match ended, Big Cass came out there and he attacked Javon Evans again. And what I'm really liking is that, you may call me stupid, but I'm still tough as shit, and I'm still going to call your ass out, because as Big Cass is walking away, Javon Evans got on the mic while he's there laying on the ground. Is that all you got? And he took more beatings. But the thing is what this is doing is it's showing Javon is tough as shit. It's showing a different side of his character. It's a story outside of the mid-card title or the main card title. And it's developing Javon's character, where he's just more than bouncy. And
right.
By the time this feud ends, and I'm assuming here, by the time this feud ends, I'm assuming that Javon is going to come out on top eventually. He's going to look like a fucking rock star because of it.
Yeah, I think so too. They're growing his character, and bringing Big Cass back and throwing him right into this. Again, the creatives doing their job. It's smart, and it's been good TV too.
And then to end Monday Night Raw, we got a fucking killer segment. Leading up to it, there were possible telegraphs of what was going to happen. The Usos bringing in Solo, being very, very excited that they have corralled Solo like he was this prized possession that they had captured, and that they were delivering it to their king, in this case,
Right.
the chief. They just were so excited about it. And Jacob Fatu mentioning, "You act like you did it yourself, Jay," because he didn't. My thing leading up to this was Roman's all about doing it on your own. Jacob beat Royce Keys on his own. Jay didn't do that. Finally, Roman Reigns comes out with Jacob Fatu by his side. Buffalo was on fire for him.
Mm-hmm.
And they were cheering him. And we talked a couple of weeks ago about Becky Lynch on her malleability, on how she just went from heel to face, not just like that, but Roman almost did it multiple times within this one segment.
Yeah, it was weird, but it was awesome too.
Yeah, where they were loving the OTC, and then they were hating the OTC, and then they liked certain things that were happening. Solo was sauntered down the aisleway by Jimmy and Jay. It kind of reminded me, because the way Solo was dressed, he had the full black suit on, like Jimmy and Jay were taking him to his prom date to go meet him. And they were just like making fun of what Solo was wearing, or like, "Are you gonna dance with her tonight?" or whatever like that.
Right.
And then when they were in the ring, apparently Roman's got a vignette guy. I mean, when you're in the OTC, you can have anything you want. And he had this vignette of the story of Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns. And I felt like it was very pro Solo, and I thought they did that on purpose to just because of what was eventually going to happen at the end of this segment. It was very pro Solo to kind of don't turn on Solo, like don't go fully behind the OTC here.
Yeah, no, this segment was fantastic, and it was a fantastic closeout to a fantastic show that had a shitload of good wrestling, and then you just got the drama at the back end of it. And I'm in the middle of it. I was just kind of caught myself thinking about the worries that were coming. I think we even discussed them on the show about the rinse and repeat bloodline story when it started getting going earlier this year. And I think this is some of the best bloodline stuff they've done to date.
I mean, it did have a familiarity between the KO and Sammy of it all.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But Roman, like when he flips to mob boss mode, it's terrifying, man. Like on
he's doing some of his best work.
Yeah. And not just like emoting and speaking, but selling, because we'll get to what happened. Roman's like Jimmy and Jay called the play, and they're an extension of the tribal chief. When you disrespect these two, you're disrespecting me. And he gave them their own. I don't know if I call them Ulafalas, because I believe the Ulafala is specific to the tribal chief, but he gave them their own black blaze, and they were very excited about it. And basically, they're capos now. They're captains.
Right.
Continue with the boss references. They are capos now. And Jacob didn't look too. He didn't like it. His facial expressions were on another level too. He didn't appreciate that they got this necklace. And
I don't know if it was that they got it or that it was that they got it. He did it. To me, he was like, "Where's my toy? Where's my comeuppance?"
LA Knight came out, and that's Jacob super kicked LA Knight, and Roman told him to stop. Those were orders given 2 weeks ago that LA Knight was not to be touched, and he's like, okay, and he steps back, and he just stands there in the corner with his arms crossed, and Solo is picked up. Acknowledge me. I shouldn't. And then that's when the similarity is of the KO Sammy. I shouldn't have to do this. You should do this.
Right.
And Solo apologizes to him. This was a little different. I'm sorry. And jams that Samoan spike right into Roman Reigns. Crowd erupts. Roman sells his ass off like he just got fucking sniped from 300 yards away.
Right.
And falls to the mat. Jacob just stands there in the corner. Jimmy and Jay get thrown out. Fucking Solo on the outside throws Jay into the guardrail. Crowd yeets with him, and Samoan spikes Jay. BFT to Jimmy Uso, and then there's Jacob in the corner. LA Knight's asking him, "Are you going to do something? You're going to listen to your daddy?" And Roman hit him with that Superman punch, and he caught a BFT. And did you notice that LA Knight took off his watch and threw it on his chest? He's like, "You could keep this one."
Yeah. No, it's a great segment, and the Jacob Fatu of it all. Everybody did their job. Everybody played their part beautifully. And the Jacob Fatu of it all being the Samoan werewolf, the wild card, standing there in the corner with his arms crossed, was interesting and left you thinking like, huh, what does this mean?
Man, and Jacob it's like his gears are turning in his head. He's realizing there's different rules for him and for the Usos that the OTC they're I think he's starting to realize that maybe Roman doesn't think of Jacob as an equal to Jimmy and Jay. Who knows? Also, that being a part of the bloodline is a choice. It's not mandated, because Solo said, fuck all that. And is Solo more popular than ever? Like, I mean,
Yes.
obviously he is. But the communication that LA Knight and Solo were having as they were leaving the ring, LA Knight says, I owe you. And Solo's like, no, I owe you. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the rumors are that we're getting LA Knight Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. Are we going to get Solo versus Roman Reigns before that? I don't know. If it is LA Knight Roman Reigns, do we see Solo get involved on LA Knight's behalf? I don't know. But man, what a segment. The crowd was into it. It was just it was awesome. It was a good Monday Night Raw, and Friday Night SmackDown was amazing as well.
Yeah, that was probably top 3 Monday Night Raws out of it. May have been the best Monday Night Raw all year. Like that one was from start to finish. There was not anything that you were going to throw shade at, or that I was going to throw shade at. I was thoroughly entertained, very pleased, and that kind of show makes you want to watch more and more and more. Makes you want to go back and rewatch that show too. I mean, it was that good.
I did rewatch it a couple of times. Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna have that championship match between Punk and Kevin Owens. I'm sure we're gonna get something between Trick and Baron Corbin. It looks like Trick's not done. He wants that title back. I guess as long as the white fur is still on that U.S. title, Trick will be involved with it somehow. I mean, Carmelo lost in Boston. That kind of stunk, but I'm excited. Things are going really well. I think since WWE, yes, Major League Baseball's on. I get that. But in this void time before football starts, they're giving us a lot of shit because they want to make sure that your eyeballs are on them. So, yeah. Next week, Wayne and I will do our 5 things we're looking forward to or excited about, 5 things that we're kind of timid or maybe not looking forward to about Florida State football. And maybe we'll do our little college football playoff picks. Last year, we were way off. Neither team made the playoffs last year that we both in Clemson and Texas, I think, and neither one of them made it.
Right.
But make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at AJG Pop of 3. Subscribe on YouTube, Wrestle Buddy Veterans. On Spotify, Wrestle Buddy Veterans. Like, comment, subscribe. And Waynehausen, give me another grave.
And then kick me in the John Wiener. Y'all take it easy, homies. And they kick me in the John Wiener.